I laid there in the hospital bed, I thought, how am I going to do this? And I was like, I couldn't breathe. I could feel the love and the arms of God. And he spoke 3 words to me. And after he spoke those 3 words to me, I was like, he let me go. And I woke up, I opened my eyes, and God, that was the first time in my life that God had ever spoken to me. It was amazing. It was incredible. And I always want to have that feeling.
Welcome to Mayc, she be going hard hitting, cleaning videos, and she speaking autism. We all know that it ain't what you see, but I know one thing, you should take it from me. Just send the M-A-Y-C, 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 M-A-Y.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Mayc, and in this video, I want to share with you my story, God's promise, and then my testimony of his love. So this video is to share the beauty of God and how no matter what you go through in life, God always keeps his promises to you, even if you make mistakes, even if you're not perfect. He knows that we're not perfect. He knows that we will never be as pure as he is, and that's why he is so loving, he is so forgiving, and he is worthy to be praised. You guys will learn in this video, if you stay with me throughout the duration of it, how truly amazing God is, and how he had his hand on my life, and how when I graduate in 1 week, it's a testimony of God's love. It's not me. I want to share with you the glory of God. I want to share with you how no matter how many mistakes you make, no matter how hard it gets, I want you to know that God is always with us. And if you're going through a tough time in your life, God is always with you. And like I said, when I graduate, it's a testimony of God. Now, a lot of you may ask, what does your story have to do with me? How will it impact me? It shows that if God can do it for me, he's even more powerful to do it for you. And so that's why I want to share this story with you, my story. Get a cup of tea, coffee, and chat with your girl. This is going to be a very, very incredible story. So I want to take you guys back to August of 2019. I was standing in the kitchen and I was making dinner for the family. And all of a sudden, when I looked up from making dinner, the room started spinning. And I started to feel lightheaded, and my heart just started pounding and racing. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was happening to me. I go to the kitchen table and I sit down and I look and I say, oh my God, something is happening to me. So Jeff gets up and takes me to the emergency room. When I got to the emergency room, they couldn't find anything. They told me that I had a panic attack. So that was my first ever panic attack that I had ever experienced in my life. And as I laid there in the hospital bed, and I'll insert a picture, that was when I found out that I was admitted to Ball State University to study applied behavior analysis with an emphasis in autism and a minor in psychology and human growth and development. And as I laid there in that hospital bed, I thought, how am I going to do this? How is this going to work? I'm laying in a hospital bed. I'm already tired. How is this going to work? So I'm going to break this video into my story, God's promise, and then my testimony. So that's when I realized, okay, I'm going to take you back even further. In December of 2015. At the time, my son was 3 years old and he was diagnosed with autism. I didn't know what that meant. It was an hour appointment and the nurse practitioner just said that your son is autistic. They gave me a little bit of information If you see me look down, I do have notes. They gave me a little bit of information about autism, and that was it. So I went home and I didn't know how to help my son. I was confused, I was scared. I knew that I would be his voice for the rest of his life because my son is nonverbal. He's not able to communicate and speak for himself. My whole world changed. I went from what I felt like I knew to nothing, a clean slate. God humbled me in that moment because I knew that in order to get through this, I knew that I would need God. So every night I would pray and I would say, God, please allow me to help my son in the best way possible. So I went to YouTube and I watched a lot of families share their stories of their autistic children, and they were essentially giving back. So that's why you all are watching me today, because if you scroll back, you'll see videos of my early days with Caden and how I shared going into his meetings for his school. That's why I started this channel. So after Caden was diagnosed, I still didn't know anything. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. And so finally, I started talking to people and was referred to enroll him in ABA, which is Applied Behavior Analysis. It's an evidence-based intervention for autistic children. I enrolled him in speech therapy, where they help him to communicate, and then occupational therapy, where they helped him to learn how to dress himself and write. I sat in those therapies and really didn't know what they were doing. It just felt like nothing was really happening. And so I was always the one to take Caden to his therapies. And as time passed, I still prayed and I still asked God to show me and to use me to be able to help my son in the best way possible. So time continued to pass and we continued to go through things. When I look back on, it was unnecessary. Now I want to I'm not going to put a disclaimer, because this is my story. I'm owning it and I want to share it with you because I want to encourage you to share your story and know that you are helping someone. So we went through many speech therapists. We went through many people because I realized in that line of work, people don't stay for multiple reasons, whether they have families, whether they decide that they don't want to be in that job. Some of them were going back to school to do other things. So we could never really get comfortable with the therapist. We went through multiple therapists. And I realized that autistic children need consistency in order to thrive and grow. And so I would notice the changes and I would be like, how is my son going to learn and be consistent day to day when therapists are leaving? And it's understandable, life is a roller coaster, and a lot of people are just that's not their final destination, and that's okay. So we went through a lot, and I remember I continued to pray to God to use me to help my son. And I'll never forget, one day I took Caden to therapy, and he was about 3 years old, and he was a baby. And when I look at his age and how that was the time to really get him and to help him, they were not nice to us. There was a therapist that was very mean, the way that she handled Caden. I remember she put him in a chair, she strapped him in, and she turned him to face the wall and was like, no. And as I sat there, and as she was trying to make me think in my mind that this was okay, I knew that as a mother it wasn't. And so I would never forget, we left, I cried, and I said, I'm not taking Caden back. And so I got home and I continued to pray. December 16th, or the year of 2016 rolls around, I'm still being faithful. I'm still working with Caden as much as I can. And it's interesting because I had all of these people around me that knew. I had all of these people around me that had years of experience that could have easily helped us, that could have guided me in the way that I needed to be guided. But this is all a part of my story. So we, again, kept going through multiple people, multiple therapists. I mean, I can't even count. And then, but I continued to read and learn and go online and Google and educate myself and try to get to where I needed to be to help my son. So as the years continue to roll by and we continue to go through so much, and people were taking advantage of me because I wasn't educated about autism and I didn't know, they got away with a lot of things as I look back. So finally, August of 2019 roll around, and I'm standing in the kitchen and I pull up my college website, and I was like, okay. And then I remember before I applied, I went to God and I asked permission. So I went into my bedroom and I closed the door. And mind you, I had never asked God for permission. I would apply for nursing school, didn't get that by a point. That didn't work out. I wanted to be a medical technologist. That didn't work out. And so I knew that my past failures was a result of me not asking God. So this was a journey that I wanted to do, but I was afraid that it wasn't going to work out. But this time I did something different. I went to God and I shut everything off and I closed my eyes and I just started praying. And I said, God, is this what you want me to do? Is this the journey that you want me to take? Because for years I had prayed and I said, God, how can you use me to help my son? So I went to him humble and I cried and I said, God, I started so many things in my life. I said, how do I know that this is for me? And every time I think about this, I get chills down my spine. As I was praying to God at the beginning of this journey, all of a sudden I started to cry. I couldn't breathe. I was hyperventilating. And I was like, I couldn't breathe. I could feel the love and the arms of God. I could feel him giving me a hug. And he spoke 3 words to me before I started this journey of going back to school to get my degree. It's mine, meaning my degree. It's going to be hard. Keep your eyes on me. And he said this to me as I was crying and as I was in the moment. And after he spoke those 3 words to me, I was like, he let me go. And I woke up, I opened my eyes, and God, that was the first time in my life that God had ever spoken to me. It was amazing. It was incredible. And I always want to have that feeling. I knew that it was mine. I knew that it would be hard. I knew that I had to keep my eyes on him. For the next 4 years, that's exactly what I did. It was tough. There were so many things that came in my life that could have allowed me to quit. I had family problems. I went through mental health problems. I lost friends. I struggled with math. If you guys go back and watch some of my videos, you saw where I had a tough time in math. But I kept my eyes on God. He is amazing. I want to talk about what my testimony and what I've learned. I've learned so many things because of this. I learned that no matter what, God is always with us. He will never leave us. We have to trust him in the good times, and we have to trust him in the bad times. We can't just trust God when things is going good in our life. We have to trust him when we go through trials and tribulations. We have to stay rooted in his love. You know, once I became very powerful and educated, that was when all of my problems began to start. Once I educated myself, once I got this degree, I found my voice. I was able to ask the questions. I was able to be more confident. I'm a better advocate now. And because of that, now I have problems. As long as I went along with things, never said anything, everything was okay, I never had problems. The minute I started learning, started understanding laws, that's when the problems started to arise. I've had people call me picky. I've had people call me hard to please. This is all because I've learned how to be a better advocate for Caden now. You know, it's interesting because when I take him to the doctor, I do a lot of research now. So whatever medication they give him, whatever they try to present, I'm always going to do the research. And I will present it to them. I say, hey, this, and it's interesting because as a Black woman, and I say Black, I never talk about race on my channel, I'm looked down upon. I'm viewed as difficult. And this is because of my desire to help my child. I have seen other races because I work in the medical field, right? So I have the privilege to see white women, Asian women, Hispanic women. I have the privilege to see how they advocate for their children and how doctors respond to it. And they respond to it like, oh my God, she's a good mom. She's amazing. She's incredible. She's done her research and she's a powerhouse. But when I do it for my son, I'm difficult. I'm threatened to be thrown out of the practice. So it's very, very interesting the things that I have seen. I've also encountered people who felt like I didn't love Caden. And I want to make it clear, Black mothers, we love our autistic children just the same as any other race. So when you see us advocating, when you see us fighting for our children, we love them. And it's not for any other reason. We're not problematic. We're not mean. We're not hard to please. I've been able to see it from both sides. And I see how you receive it when the opposite race is advocating for their child. We love ours as well. But I don't want to get too far into that because this video is about God and how unmatched his love is. I want to encourage you that today, that if it's something that you want, if it's something that you're passionate about, make sure that you, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe. If you stumble across this video and you have a different religion, okay. But this is what I feel in my heart to be true. I went to God. I got permission. He took me on this journey. He held my hand. He loves me and he loves you. His love is unmatched. I'm so thankful that God is in my life. I'm so thankful that I sought permission. I'm thankful that He loves me. I'm thankful that I was able to overcome so many challenges in these 4 years. I'm thankful that my mental health stayed where it needed to be in order for me to get to where I am today. And I'm thankful for you guys, my YouTube family, who's been here from the beginning. You know, a lot of you have been here since the day I started. There was so much doubt that I had. I doubted if I could be where I am today. There was so much that I had to go through. I cried a lot. I doubted myself. But I held on to God's promise. And I want you guys to hold on to your dreams. Don't ever give up on what you want to accomplish in life. And stay strong. Thank you so much for watching this video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.